it looks like Pred has officially addressed the allegations and all the rumors going on with his situation with OpTic. We're going to talk about everything he said on his stream last night in case you missed it, and a bit more about potentially where Pred could head later in the year, being as he is now a free agent. As I said, Pred went live last night and addressed some of the rumors. You can see here his tweet. He says he appreciates the support and love he's been getting. He's currently dealing with the situation. He's going to be stepping away to handle his personal issues and fix his mental health. And he goes on to say, cheer for OpTic, root for the boys. It's a minor setback for a major comeback. Kind of just coming out and sort of talking about some of these rumors, I think is maybe something we didn't expect, at least this soon. But let's talk about exactly what was said during this stream, because we got a couple different breakdown posts here to talk about. First of all, he addresses the gambling rumors very briefly and said if you want to gamble, to do it responsibly. So right there, he does not confirm nor deny whether or not he has been gambling, although he does confirm he did not bet on his own matches or any CDL matches, which obviously was one of the bigger rumors circulating, because for a player to bet on their own games is a pretty serious accusation. So him denying those right away definitely is a good thing, I think, for him to put those rumors to bed. He, of course, mentions that struggling mentally was affecting his competing, his practice, his relationship with friends and family. So him kind of coming out and saying this just further shows that clearly there is a bit more to this. And the way the situation is affecting him, I feel like something people don't really think about. He also says the issues stem from personal problems he didn't want to share. So people are, of course, going to speculate what they think or don't think Pred was doing. But the big thing here, and what I want to talk about more towards the end of this video, is Pred confirmed he is a free agent and is hoping to return to any team after Major 1. He's obviously back in Australia working on his personal issues. And he did say there is no timeline, right? I think he said his goal is to return to a team after Major 1. This could potentially be pushed back, of course, if he doesn't feel like he's ready to come back to the league. But Pred being officially a free agent, no longer a part of OpTic, is some big news, because pretty much every team in the league, for the most part, is going to want to sign Pred, because he is, of course, a superstar caliber SMG in the league. Another little breakdown here of the things Pred said in his stream here from my guy, OpTic Texas Burner. Shout out to Alex. Pred does deny a couple other rumors. It's not alcohol and drug related. He does not have a child, right? There are all these different things floating around the community and online, and Pred putting to bed most of the rumors. He also said that it's not legal reasons, and he's struggling with more personal issues that are not gambling related, family and personal mental health. So I will say the one thing, and this is what people have been going at on Twitter and Reddit, is he did not specifically say, you know, I haven't been gambling at all, or I don't have a potential gambling issue. Obviously, there could be more to this story. Typically, there's more to every story, right? You only get one side often, and this is going to be Pred's side. But also, it's clear, like, everything he's denying, obviously, just goes to show you that so many of the rumors that came out, so many of the things people said, oh, they have proof, they have sources, are all proving to be not true, at least coming directly from Pred himself. Also confirmed he's not on OpTic right now, which is why they unfollowed him, and he does not have a timeline for when he's going to be back. As I said, he could play for any team. He's a free agent. He says his time on OpTic could be over, but it depends on how things go during Major 1. And he did say he is cool with Hex and the OpTic boys, which is something a lot of people were speculating that, like, him and Kenny don't like each other, him and Hex are fighting, like, so many different speculations going on with this situation, and Pred pretty much addressing every single one, I think, was a good play on his part. And then even further here, OpTic Texas Burner saying the reason he didn't get benched was because of how uncertain his timeline was, and states OpTic did everything to try and help and did not abandon him. And right here, I think these two are one of the biggest talking points, because everyone's saying, like, why would OpTic unfollow him? Why would OpTic drop him if he was going to come back? And right here makes a lot of sense. First of all, Pred is probably on a massive contract, right? Pred is making a lot of money, if I had to guess. Like I said, he is a superstar talent in the league. I'm sure he's making a big salary. So for him to say, hey guys, listen, I don't know when I'm going to be back to play, it makes sense for them to not just bench him and continue to pay that salary, at least in my opinion. And then also him saying that OpTic tried to help him and that they didn't want to abandon him, but it was really more him not accepting their help or being ready to accept their help. Also, I feel like goes to show that I saw some people on social media taking shots at OpTic saying, like, they're bad orgs and they're not taking care of their players, and like they stood by Maniac when he was going through issues, but they're not going to stand by Pred. I think it's clear, and I feel like if you've watched OpTic over the years, it's clear Hex really cares about his boys. So I feel like the people saying that are just, I don't know why you'd be so mad at OpTic for those sorts of situations. And Pred himself saying specifically, like, don't hate on OpTic. They really tried to be there for me. I think just goes to show you that this is not like, it's not OpTic being the bad guys in this situation. We also got some other clips here floating around, him saying to go show the guys love, support the team. They really didn't do anything wrong. He said a lot of good things about HAVOK, saying HAVOK's a really nice guy and they should, and OpTic fans and everyone should support HAVOK. I think this is just really good out of Pred, specifically because he's not taking shots at OpTic. He's not trying to act like he's in the right in this situation necessarily. Like, he's basically telling everyone that OpTic is not in the wrong. They did what they could. They were there for him. And he wants everyone to continue to support those guys. But on top of all of this, one thing I really do want to say before we hop into more of the free agency and where Pred could type of go things, I don't think we're necessarily going to get a statement from OpTic. I feel like people are still saying, well, now that Pred's addressed it, OpTic has to address it. And I do think we might get a post that's like, thank you, Pred, for everything you've done for OpTic. We wish you the best going forward. Like one of those, you know, thank you, he's not on the team anymore type post. But I don't think OpTic's going to address anything else because Pred kind of addressed everything that needs to be talked about. The real reasons or the reasons behind the scene that could be deeper than everything that's been said do not need to be said publicly. And I feel like that's something the community is missing. Pred does not have to say, or OpTic does not have to say everything that's going on behind the scenes, everything that's going on with his mental health. I think he's addressed enough. He's put a lot of rumors to sleep. And he's basically talked good about everyone in the situation that's tried to help him. So for that reason, I don't think we're going to get anything from OpTic. But also, there's posts like this going around on the Reddit that have a load of comments that are also agreeing. Obviously, some upvotes. I've seen these on Twitter as well. People saying Pred's lying. And this to me is fascinating because people were not saying, well, people were saying this, but I feel like the people who are saying Pred's lying were not saying this about everyone coming out spreading rumors about Pred. When these rumors came out on Twitter like last week or whatever it was, there wasn't a lot of people saying, nah, I don't believe it. Nah, it's not true, things like that. But when Pred, the official source, the man handling the situation, comes out and puts to bed almost every single rumor, people think he's lying, which I think is pretty interesting to just show the psychology behind people and human beings when it comes to drama going on in the community. Obviously, is there going to be more to the situation? Most likely. Like I said earlier, I think there's more to just about every single situation. What is more in this situation? Who really knows? But I just think people saying Pred is lying is just kind of nuts, man. Like, he addressed almost every single thing he could have addressed in this situation. If you want to read between the lines a little bit, that's fine, but he's not lying. Is he potentially downplaying things a little bit or not diving into the deepest parts of the mental health crisis he's facing? Of course, that could be possible. But to say he's lying to me, I think is kind of crazy. But now let's talk about where Pred could potentially head in free agency, because it looks like he's not heading back to OpTic. I guess potentially if they are struggling and he gets back to where he wants to be and the boys are willing to take him back, he could come back to the team. But where could he go? I think the top teams on this list right now are going to be a no, right? I don't think he's going to Ravens. I think Tej and Gwyn have been good. I think LA Thieves, obviously, he's not going to be heading there. Toronto Ultra, I think Joe and Kleenex have been good. Boston Breach, I don't know. I will say one thing. I don't know what Pred's salary would look like coming back into the league. Who would be able to afford him? We're going to pretend like salary doesn't exist in this situation. For Boston, Snoopy and Purge have actually been pretty good, and they work really well together. So I don't know about that. OpTic, we're going to rule out in this situation. Minnesota Rocker could be an interesting one if, let's say, Estriel doesn't continue to get better as the year goes on. I think Nero has been good, and he's pushed the pace. His Slayer rating's up there. His KD's a little bit above average. He's been good in control. He's been overall really good. I think Estriel could potentially be an option here for Pred to play the slower SMG role with Nero playing the faster one. Miami Heretics, it would be quite the situation for Vickle to retire and Pred to go to the Miami Heretics. So I don't think that's going to happen. Vancouver Surge is another one that I think is interesting because these guys are all struggling. I feel like individually, they've all had their moments, but Hixie's been getting kind of killed in the respawns. And 04 is also not exactly doing great, but I feel like these numbers from 04 is sort of what you would expect out of him. And SND, it hasn't been as good, but 04 is a very fast-paced player, so him going negative is not the end of the world. 04 and Pred could be an interesting duo, in my opinion, and Pred going back to Vancouver, if obviously the bridges are not burned there and he still enjoys being a part of that organization, could be interesting, teaming up with Abuza, 04, and Nasty. Cloud9 New York is obviously the big one everyone's been talking about because we know his history playing with Mac, playing with Sib, playing with Lamar, who is their coach. And they are a team that is slightly struggling right now, the whole team getting farmed. But what I will say is their SMGs have been their best players. I mean, Mac and Kremp have been by far better than Attach and Sib so far. So for Pred to come into this team for one of those two right now seems kind of not like it's going to happen because of the SMGs being better. Now, could Pred be better than the way Kremp and Mac have been playing? Of course. But I feel like the ARs are the bigger issue for Cloud9 at this point. But this is, of course, a team to keep your eye on for a potential Pred signing. Another really, really big one here is potentially Atlanta FaZe. I know FaZe fans are probably going to say, nah, we're not making a roster change. And I do agree. I don't think FaZe make a change. This is a big one that could really shake up the league because obviously FaZe are a super team. They should be one of the top teams. They are one of the top teams on paper. Who would he come in here for? Potentially, I could see a move here where Draza out, Pred in. Maybe you move Simp to the flex or you move Pred to the flex. And this team would be disgusting, in my opinion, if you made this move. Draza has been a bit underwhelming. Same thing with Celium. But I also feel like Draz is probably going to be the odd man out a lot of the time because of just the trio being the trio. Draz has been abysmal in SND, which is pretty crazy. And then in Control also has not been great. This is just one to keep your eye on. Do I think it's going to happen? Not exactly. But this would make another really big super team in the league and would be an interesting one for sure. Vegas Falcons, I just don't see doing it. I mean, maybe. I guess they have the money for sure. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about salary and stuff, but they definitely have the money. But lastly, I think LA Gorilla Mates could be an interesting one, right? LAG, currently a team 0-4, struggling. Their SMG duo, same thing I said for C9, has been playing better than their ARs. So maybe there's a world where they drop Priesta and they bring in Pred as a flex, if that's something he'd be willing to do. Who really knows kind of how this can work, but this is another team to look out for because obviously Gentlemates wants to be competitive. They just got into the league. And if you bring in Pred, I think that instantly makes your team way better. So this is another one to watch out for. But either way, man, let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comments. Let me know where you think Pred could potentially head after Major 1. I think there's a bunch of options. It's not looking like it's going to be OpTic, but anything's possible. But at the end of the day, that's my favorite saying, by the way. I keep getting comments about that. At the end of the day, keep your respect for Pred and for OpTic. There's no point to be toxic and to be rude online, bro. He's dealing with mental health things. Let the guy sort it out. I wish the best for him. Hopefully he comes back because I want to see him back in the league. But if you enjoy the CDL content, want to stay up to date with everything going on in our community, make sure to sub to the channel, and hopefully I'll see y'all in the next one.